Hopefully this isn't the first time that you're hearing about this, but if it is, Georgia has since signed a bill into law that will take effect January of 2020, criminalizing abortion after a 6-week period, which is around the first time that they start to hear any kind of sign or sound of the fetal heartbeat during a woman's pregnancy. 6 weeks is also usually the point of time before a woman even realizes she's pregnant at that point, but that apparently doesn't really matter to them. It is a big thing. They are literally criminalizing women for getting an abortion. They are criminalizing women who leave the state of Georgia to seek a safe and legal abortion, and they're criminalizing that with conspiracy to commit murder. This is not a joke. Like, this is not made up. This isn't the fucking Onion. Georgia passed this bill. They signed it into law, and it will take place January 2020. Don't take it from me. I have a few articles and a few other voices that I do want to bring up talking about this. So, the first one comes from The Hollywood Reporter. It's titled, 5 production companies say they won't film in Georgia over abortion law, and this was posted on May 9th by Bryn Elise Sandberg. So the article says, on Tuesday, the state's Republican governor, Brian Kemp, signed a piece of legislation that's been dubbed the Heartbeat Bill that bans abortions after a fetal heartbeat is detected, which can be as early as 6 weeks into a pregnancy. It does, however, include exemptions such as to save the life of a mother or for rape and incest, but only if a woman files a police report, which we know so well from the past 2-3 years from what we've seen in our government, that the police and the government and takes very seriously whenever a woman tries to say that, hey, I've been raped, hey, I've been molested. They take it super seriously. Anyway, as a result, some industry figures are calling on Hollywood to withdraw production from the state. Atlanta and Georgia, as well as Louisiana, have been growing in popularity for filming TV shows and movies here down in the South just because of tax breaks. So they're calling for Hollywood and other production companies to halt their productions in Atlanta and not use Atlanta or Georgia until this bill is renounced. Alyssa Milano, June Diane Raphael, and George Takei all spoke up in late March when the bill was approved in the Georgia General Assembly with a 92-78 vote. Now, Killer Films, the production banner behind such movies as Vox Lux, First Reformed, and Carol, is taking action. CEO Christine Vachon tweeted on Thursday morning that the company will no longer consider Georgia as a viable shooting location until this ridiculous law is overturned. The Wire and The Deuce creator David Simon, who runs Blown Deadline Productions, similarly tweeted about the law, I can't ask any female member of any film production with which I am involved to so marginalize themselves or compromise their inalienable authority over their own bodies. I must undertake production where the rights of all citizens remain intact. He said, further explaining in another tweet, can only speak for my production company. Our comparative assessments of locations for upcoming development will pull Georgia off the list until we can be assured the health options and civil liberties of our female colleagues are unimpaired. Producer Nina Jacobson, whose company Colorface is responsible for such hits as Crazy Rich Asians and American Crime Story, quoted Simon's tweet and wrote, ditto. Another one, and this is a little more on brand with pop culture and geek shit that I talk about here. So another one is by Eric Pedersen from Deadline, and this was for May 10th, 2019. J.J. Abrams and Jordan Peele will shoot HBO drama Lovecraft Country in Georgia, but donate profits to fight heartbeat law. The pair's decision was informed and to support Stacey Abrams' effort to overturn the law. Also among the organizations also battling the law is Fair Fight Georgia. J.J. Abrams and Peele said they will donate 100% of their respective episodic fees for this season of Lovecraft Country to that group and local ACLU, and this is the full statement that they said, "In a few weeks, we start shooting our new show, Lovecraft Country, and we'll do so standing shoulder to shoulder with the women of Georgia. Governor Kemp's fetal heartbeat abortion law is an unconstitutional effort to further restrict women and their health providers from making private medical decisions on their terms. Make no mistake, this is an attack aimed squarely and purposely at women. We stand with Stacey Abrams and the hardworking people of Georgia and will donate 100% of our respective episodic fees for this season to two organizations leading the charge against this draconian law, the ACLU of Georgia and Fair Fight Georgia. We encourage those who are able to funnel any and all resources to these organizations." Definitely, if you can support any of these organizations or any organizations that are standing up to this bill, standing up to the bill in Georgia and any other states who are trying to do it, please do so. I've donated plenty of money to the ACLU. Please also donate. Please also support them. This next one is from the ACLU of Georgia. ACLU of Georgia and coalition partners respond to Governor Kemp signing an unconstitutional bill that jeopardizes women's health. This was from May 6, 2009. Women are leaders in this state, a state that for 50 years has respected a woman's right to make her own reproductive health decisions. Today's women can only thrive in a state that protects their most basic rights, the right to choose when and whether to start or expand a family. Georgia can't afford to go backwards on women's health and rights, stated Andrea Young, Executive Director of the ACLU of Georgia. We will act to block this assault on women's health, rights, and self-determination. Now, of course, there are other states. I know Ohio is one that is pushing for the same kind of heartbeat bill, but also Louisiana, because obviously if one inbred Southern cousin is doing something like this, all of the inbred Southern cousins states have to do this. So in Louisiana, they are pushing for their own bill, for their own heartbeat bill, but they have the brilliant foresight to not include the rape exemption. If someone is raped, even with a police report, they're not including that as of now, as far as we've seen now. They're not including that in their heartbeat bill. So even if you're raped, if an 11-year-old girl is raped and gets pregnant and she tries to get an abortion so that she doesn't have the child of her rapist, then she will be marked a felon. I asked around other perspectives on this, and one just from Facebook, from a Facebook group, John F. He says that his niece works in the film and television industry in Atlanta and was today lamenting the fact that she and others may now take the hit economically because of a governor they loathe and did not support. It's not going to end here. That's the first thing we need to understand, is that this kind of law, the laws that this government have been pushing for, these fanatical, traditionalist, white, Christian, conservative laws and ways of doing things, this is neither the end of this, nor was it the beginning. The beginning was 2 years ago, when Trump and his administration were calling for actual violence at his rallies, then goes on to putting a rapist of multiple women on the Supreme Court, building literal concentration camps on our southern border. It is escalating, because now we're not even talking about immigration. We're not even talking about people coming to this country. We're talking about the people who are from this country, about taking away their human rights, about taking away women's rights to choose what they do or do not do with their own body. It's not going to stop there. The next thing will be something else that they're taking away. It'll be some other human right, inalienable human right, from women, from white men liberals. Soon they'll take away the right to protest, as Trump has been, it's really mean that protesters make fun of him, so that should be illegal. It's not going to end there, and the worse it gets, And it's going to get worse, not just for me, not just for other women, but for actual Trump supporters, for actual conservatives who are so willfully fucking ignorant and proudly hypocritical that soon they're going to start getting the same treatment, because the people making these laws don't give a shit about you or anyone else who supports them. Because whatever they do, you're going to cheer for until you realize, oh wait, now I'm their target. And by then it's going to be too late. There will be no one speaking up for you. There will be no one fighting for your human rights. These bills and these laws and the people supporting them who claim to be pro-life, this has nothing to do with life. This has nothing to do with pro-life. Because if they were pro-life, they would be a lot more fucking pissed off about the literal concentration camps on our southern border filled with children, many of which are barely a year old, past that 6-week heartbeat period that they are fighting for, barely a year old, being ripped from their parents, put in literal fucking cages, and treated like cattle. But they're not up in arms with that because you can't enter them. You can't enter America illegally. You can't enter France illegally. So, tough shit. But if they were pro-life, they would be a little more pissed off about that. If they were pro-life, they would be a little more against all of the fucking pointless wars for fucking oil in the Middle fucking East. If they were pro-life, they would be a little more upset about the fact that we're not even barely 5 months into 2019 and have already had so many mass shootings. One of which happening not even a week ago, where a kid was literally shot to death because he was trying to get between his friends and the shooters. Gave his life, this kid, this 11-year-old kid, decided to put his life on the line to defend his friends, and he died for it. But no, you're pro-life, so all you can really do is send your fucking thoughts and prayers, and then argue about how any gun legislation is alienating your Second Amendment rights. This is not pro-life. This has never been pro-life. It's anti-choice. It's the fact that they are taking this stand because they're Christian and they're white and they're conservative. Therefore, their own limited fucking perspective should be the perspective of everyone, because clearly, if they didn't personally experience it, it doesn't exist. They haven't been into space and saw that the world's round, so it must be flat. This is not okay. The people who are making these laws, who are brazenly and proudly making these laws, saying that this is what makes America great, taking away rights from people because Trump and his cult see them as subhuman. And I say this with full knowledge of the people in my life who feel the exact same way, who support Trump and support all of this and will see this criminalizing of abortion and cheer, who will see locking up immigrants at the border and cheer, who have cheered. And I say this with full knowledge of who those people are in my life. And I've never been more disgusted and disappointed in people. And my only regret is I can't say this to your face because I'm trying to at least pretend there is some sense of civility between us. And that I'm just so done pretending that you're a good person. Because you're not. This is not okay. I was talking with someone about this, and they said, maybe it's time we storm the castle. And personally, I think it's past time. I've always said this is a fight. This is a fight, and we cannot back down from it. We need to be outspoken. We need to protest. We need to galvanize and pull every resource available to us. Every single one. And stop this. We need to make sure that the people we are voting into office to represent us actually represent us. Here in Louisiana, our representative haven't even pretended to represent us their entire career. Haven't done a goddamn thing. When you have a president who demeans and dehumanizes women and minority and threatens anyone who disagrees with him with actual violence, who holds white supremacist Nazi KKK rallies, once a week, and he goes to them and he fucking talks shit and then cheers on when someone says they should shoot immigrants, or he stands there in front of everyone and says that the people who disagree with him should watch out because he has bikers for Trump, and he has the military, and he has the police, and they should watch out. Donate to the ACLU. Volunteer. Do anything and everything you can. I would normally sign off with a, have a good day, have fun, geek out, but we shouldn't be. Because as long as shit like this is happening, we should not be living easily. Eight years. 8 years. We made so many strides of progress. And not even into 3 years, it's been destroyed. And it's just going to get worse.